Time for City Beat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson. Only on 1029 CHTM, your radio station.
Good morning and welcome to City Beat here on 1029 CHTM. My name is Stuart and my guest this morning is Mayor Dennis Fenske.
Good morning.
Let's start off by getting to a few things we didn't get to last time you were here. We had a lot to cover, and we had to move some things around to make it so we weren't going on for a few hours. I don't think either of us had the time for that.
For sure.
Let's start by talking about the planning district. Right now, what the proposed resolution has been that's now been tabled twice is to add Tatasquiac and NCN as voting members to the planning district. What you had said is that you're waiting for the province's official approval in writing, as it's their legislation, that's my understanding, that needs to change. Is there any update in that?
Sure. So we've received a letter from Minister Wharton's assistant in regard and outlining the support from the province of Manitoba to study our proposal. So that will take some time, but at least they are looking at the Planning Act amendment that we're proposing. It does affect not only Thompson, but other planning acts and First Nations in our community, or in our province. And so it is a positive move in that the province has indicated that they are willing to study the request that we've made, and we'll have further updates as we go through the process.
Will you still need two official letters from the two different ministers before it can go through once the study is complete?
No, this is the legislation itself would take an order in council at the provincial level, and so the support from the ministers involved was basically moral support to push the process forward. Once the province has done their due diligence in regards to impacts, then there's a formal process that isn't ours, it's the province's, to change legislation. And so we were just keeping the two ministers involved, one responsible for Indigenous relations and one responsible for municipal relations. It's prudent that both of them be on board and aware of our request and understanding the dynamics of it.
The other thing we didn't get to last time is talking a bit about the RCMP and law enforcement here in the city of Thompson. It came up last time as Inspector Lewis was giving his quarterly report to council, and you commented a bit on that and talked about the national meetings for policing in the country that you were recently at in Ottawa. Could you talk a bit about what your comments were?
Sure. So first off, on a very positive note, I want to congratulate Inspector Lewis and his staff in regards to the work that they do on a day-to-day basis in our community and surrounding from the rural detachment as well. They are our police force of choice, and none better in that from that perspective. Saying that, they work with a number of partners, including the City of Thompson and our community safety officers, and a number of organizations in our community to do community policing, and that's the biggest change in the RCMP over years, has been to move towards a focused community policing aspect, and so we have a really good relationship with our local detachment, and although our areas of concerns can be sometimes daunting, they do the best they can with the resources they have. We are actually, in fact, calling a meeting on Tuesday with all of the agencies specifically to deal with the downtown core. We've had an escalation of incidences, and we want to deal with the issue straight up with the stakeholders involved, and so we will be convening a meeting next Tuesday to discuss a further strategy.
And the new commissioner of the RCMP actually has a Thompson connection. There's also a connection, I understand, with the deputy commissioner. You mentioned that about the national meetings. Could you talk a bit about that and how they talked about the CSO program?
Sure. So yes, Thompson well represented at the national table. I represent the municipalities across Canada from a Manitoba perspective. There's 3 other municipal reps that sit on the national committee, but specifically to the RCMP, the newly named commissioner of the RCMP, Brenda Lucky, is actually an RCP member who was stationed in Thompson, and we got to work with her quite well. I remember doing a promotion with MPI in regards to the drinking and driving initiative that MPI had put out. And so from here, she went to Depot in Regina and managed the Depot for a number of years, and was since promoted to the commissioner of the RCMP. And second to that, the RCMP structure has two deputy commissioners, and on the one hand, Kevin Brasseau is the deputy commissioner responsible for municipal and Indigenous relations across Canada, and he's the former commander of D Division, which is all of the RCMP in Manitoba. And he's been to Thompson many, many times, and he was very supportive of the CSO program in Thompson in its initial stages, as was the local detachment. And so both Commissioner Lucky and Deputy Commissioner Brosseau at the national table talked about the Community Safety Officer program in general terms, how it really helps out the RCMP, but specifically talking about the success in Thompson of that. So it's a very proud moment for me as the Mayor of the City of Thompson to be at a national table with all the Assistant Deputy Ministers of Justice across Canada, municipal reps from Public Safety Canada, and RCMP, to have Thompson singled out and the CSO program singled out as one that has potential and is working and is a work in progress. So that was very nice to hear.
Moving to the last regular meeting of council, which was earlier this week, the only item on the agenda was the check register, and the point was brought up by Councillor Foley that there was one check in particular that was being debated by councillors, but he made the point to say that it's not worth it to not pass the check registry because of one specific item on that line. It's almost $3 million worth of checks. What would happen if the check register wasn't passed because those checks have already been issued?
Yeah, so basically it's very similar to the audit resolution. We have our financials audited annually as we have to by the Municipal Act. We receive the audit and we bring a resolution to accept the audit. And the resolution is a housekeeping resolution to say that we've seen it and acknowledge it. And basically that's the end of it. So we can't refuse the audit in the same sense that, as you just mentioned, the checks that have come, the register that's previously reviewed and passed at the finance meeting, the checks are then issued and the accounts paid. The resolution that comes forward is a resolution, basically a housekeeping resolution that adopts the passage of the check register. And so to the question of whether it would be defeated or not, it's really a moot point, and we're going to discuss that further at the finance level, that maybe the check register should just come for information only and not require a resolution, because we aren't required in the Municipal Act to pass a resolution to accept the check register. It's more for information purposes, and that by no means restricts anybody can ask questions. The register would be on the agenda. The itemized register would be online, so people could still ask questions. The recommendation, and we'll have that discussion in finance, most likely would be that to do away with the actual vote, because it's a moot point. The checks are already cashed, unless certain councillors want us to go to individuals and ask for the money back.
Moving on, could you give us an update with regards to public works with street sweeping and potholes? I know there might be a few more creeping up with the recent rain that we've had.
Yeah, so on both fronts, potholes and street sweeping, the potholes are ongoing. And again, I would encourage anyone who sees one that's larger than normal, that could cause safety issues, to call Public Works at 204-677-7970. And the street sweeping is continuing. I just passed them this morning on the way to the radio. So they're on Hemlock area, and that will continue. You'll notice some sand piles along the curbs where apartment owners or businesses have swept the sand onto the street. That's encouraged by the City of Thompson to do so, to clean their properties, and then we do that in a way that makes sure that the sweeper hasn't been through your area, because we don't want to go back twice. And so people shouldn't be surprised to see sand on the streets, and we'll come by and pick it up as quick as we can, so to clean the community. So I would encourage everyone to continue assisting in cleaning the sand and gravel off of lawns, and making sure that the catch basins are clear as well.
And then finally, are there any events coming up that you wanted to mention?
Actually, I just want to go back to a couple things.
Okay.
Spring cleanup runs to June 25th. So encourage everybody to help out there, and you can call Public Works to arrange an area for the $3 per bag. We encourage, it's a great fundraiser. And also the landfill along the highway is still available as a choice there. There's lots of garbage along that we could use assistance in cleaning up. In regards to events, we have a number of events. We have a huge powwow at the TRCC on June 9th. We have the UCN Grad on June 13th and 14th. We have Nickel Days on June 21st, 24th. We have Aboriginal Days on June 21st. We have the Artie Parker Grad on June 27th, and we have Canada Day on July 1st. So very busy second half of June and the first part of July. Encourage everyone to come out to the public events and support the organizers and the volunteers that take to put it on. Hopefully the weather will cooperate with us, and again, it's a focus of our community and features our community for visitors as well.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
If you have any questions you'd like answered next week, email them in advance to CHTMnews@arcticradio.ca. For City Beat here on 102.9 CHTM, I'm Stuart Walter.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning.